I'd like to call this meeting to order and acknowledge that we are on Treaty 1 on Dakota Nation's territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Carrie Linklater. I'm your chairperson today, and I'm joined on the panel by Mr. Ron Merritt and Ms. Gail Anderson. Our admin secretary is Ms. Cara Belshaw, and our city assessor today is Nathan Kupfer. To the participants of the hearing, please note you are placed in the waiting room until your property is called upon. When it is your turn, you will be admitted into the meeting. Kindly follow along on the City of Winnipeg's Board of Revision YouTube channel for the hearing process. Once the host admits you into the hearing, please close or mute your YouTube player. You will then be permitted to speak with respect to your property. Once your hearing has concluded, you can leave the meeting. Today, we'll be hearing applications for revision of the assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. Be advised that comparison of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by City Council and is independent of it and the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or to the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the points of appeal with your property to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the board's decision by registered mail as soon as possible. And as information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. And the first property we are going to hear this morning is 2 Hedgewood Cove. And if you would like to swear their name.
Yep. Mr. Assessor, for the record, can you please state your name?
Nathan Stephen Kupfer.
Do you affirm the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Mr. Applicant, for the record, can you please state your name?
Norman Matthew.
Do you affirm the evidence you present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Kupfer and Mr. Babiak. Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to start us off with this property, thank you.
First property today will be number 2 Hedgewood Cove, roll number 0802112050. This is a cab-over single-family dwelling in the Norman Park neighborhood area, constructed in 2008. No effective age assigned. It's 2,081 square feet. Full basement with basement finish, 3 bathrooms, air conditioning, 2 fireplaces, and an attached multi-garage, and a lot size of 6,692 square feet. Our 4 comparables here are just one neighborhood over. They are all cab-over single-family dwellings constructed between 2001 and 2006. Living area ranging from a low of 1,637 square feet to a high of 1,861 square feet, so all just a little bit smaller than the subject. However, they do all have full basements with basement finish, 3 bathrooms, air conditioning, all at least 1 fireplace, and all have the attached double garage. Lot sizes ranging from a low of 4,688 square feet to a high of 7,369 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables range from a low of 436,600 to a high of 469,000, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $248.15 to a high of $266.71. Current owner purchased the property in July of 2021. Previously, it was purchased in December 2016 for $470,000. In between these two sales, I believe only some minor changes were done, including new granite countertops, the listing mentioned. Other than that, the home is still largely original from what I can tell. If you turn to page 2 of my brief, you'll see the map with the layout of the comparables here. It's important to note Hedgewood here, like you can see, is on the west side of St. Mary's. Obviously, your comparables are to the east. Just north of the subject here, that curve is at the bend of the river with some green space in front of it and a walking path. So the property does have access to some green space nearby. In my opinion, I think our closest comparable is comparable number 1. Number 3 is Xylema. From what I can tell, it appears to be a similar level, finishing, constructed around the same time, close to the same size. I can see Mr. Babbitt's brief here mentions the ensuite just has a cheap shower in his home, so does this one. And it sold for just under $250 a foot. So I would recognize that I think our assessment is a bit high here, our 2022 number at $565. I would recommend bringing it down to around our best comparable here of 3 Xylema, or about $250 a foot, which would bring us out to about $520,000. So that'll be my recommendation today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kupfer. Mr. Babiak, you've just heard the assessor has given a recommendation.
Okay. No, I'm not accepting the recommendation.
Okay, thank you.
But I appreciate the fact that he did recommend one.
Mr. Kupfer, are you finished with your presentation then?
I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Babiak, did you have any questions for the assessor?
Have you inspected the subject property?
No, sir.
Okay. Usually in economy of scale, the larger the square footage, the lower the sale price per square foot. Is that usually correct?
The larger the square footage, the lower the price per square foot.
Correct, yeah. I think that's and you said something about the other place having a cheap shower in it. Does it also have a tub in the washroom as well? In the ensuite?
1 sec, I'll pull it up here. I believe it was just a 3-piece ensuite as well. Just confirm. Yeah, it's a 3-piece ensuite bath with just the standing shower in the corner.
Okay, no further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions.
I have a few, Miss. Thank you, Chairperson. Your recommendation of 520, that is arrived at how?
I'm using approximately $250 a square foot. I feel like that's an appropriate value.
Did you get a chance to drive past the property or anything like that?
No, the property I got a look over. It was a public sale, so we just used the MLS listing for this one.
The subject is, I think, located in Norman Park, and the comparables are not in Norman Park, correct?
That's correct. I chose to go with similar cab overs that were built around the same time, rather than comparing it to other 1-story, 2-story homes that were built decades prior.
So my question is, if the sale price, before adjustment is about $460, how do you arrive at the $250 mark per square foot?
Well, given the square footage of the subject property, using a base sale price, that you need to use an upwards adjustment. Like I said, I think Hedgewood Cove number 2 here, I think it's a nice location. Like I said, you're not far away from green space, walking past in that area. And again, $250 a foot would be at the lower end already. So I believe that is accounting for some economies of scale, especially given that it's a larger lot as well.
I thank you.
Thank you. And I have no questions at this time. Thank you. Mr. Babiak, if you'd like to proceed.
Sure. I just purchased the property, like the assessor said, about 3 months ago. And I looked at the taxes on it and I thought, wow, these are really high. But, you know, I realized that it was probably a mistake. And that's why I'm here today. I bought the house in 2021 for $540,000. Okay. The assessment, 2018 assessment at $565. It's unheard of that, you know, today's sale price would be lower than a 2018 value. I mean, today's prices are way higher. So anyways, I'll start off with the way I came around with my values, which I'm going to start off by saying that I'm looking for a reduction to somewhere in the neighborhood of about $450 to $470 on my property. As you can see, it had sold right at the end of 2016. In fact, you could almost call that a 2017 sale, being December 28th. And you'll see it in the sales data that the city assessment uses for their 2016 to 2018 sales to arrive at the values on these properties. You'll find my property in there. At the time of purchase, it was an Asian family that came directly from Asia, I believe, that bought the property. And it was, I guess, I don't know if I'd call it abused, but it was in need of some TLC because they did rent it out. You know, they had students coming into the property and they rented it out. So cosmetic stuff, you know, just basically stains and carpets and stuff like that. But the roof probably wasn't leaking at the time he bought the property. It is leaking right now. I've got stains in my kitchen, my living room, and my bedroom from the roof. That hasn't been replaced. So, and as for the countertops, I mean, boy, did they make a poor choice on putting granite. I thought those were original, but they're all cracked up. They were poorly installed, and they're this ugly brown color that you know, just isn't in style today. Okay, I started off just because I had sold my property in Royalwood just before I bought this property. Okay, same time period, basically a month apart on the sales. My house in Royalwood sold for $580,000. Okay, it was assessed at $455,000, but I bought it for $452,000 or something like that. So it justified the $455,000 on it. But I sold it for $580,000 because of today's market values. Okay, I bought this for $40,000 less, and it had an assessment of $455,000. This one had $565,000 assessment. So, I mean, there's a $110,000 difference on the assessments. So basically, I came in at an ESR of 79% because of that. But the city assessment uses ASRs just when they do reassessments, just to find the outliers, you know, ones that are assessed high, ones that are assessed low, you know. And I sort of just gave you 5 properties that sold right around the time period that I bought my property in 2018, just to give you an ASR show that my property is an outlier. Mine comes in at 105%. Okay, the assessment $565, sale price was $540. Okay, 75 Portside across the street from me sold for $770, and their assessment's only $636, $60,000 difference for a house that sold for $230,000 more than my house. 83 ASR. Just down the street from me, $679, $586 was the assessment, and 86 ASR. I'll just say the ASRs worked out to an average of about 84%. Okay. Norcross was at 79%. So there's no way my house should be assessed more than what I paid for it. Okay. So anyways, if I apply those, the ASR on the first page would be an average of 84%. So 453.6 is what it works out to. So I took some sales off their sales data list. Okay, in my area, actually Norman Park. Yeah, he's correct. There's not a lot of cab overs. Mine's not a popular design in that area. In fact, I think they cheaped out when they put this structure up because there's a few flaws in it. One of them being the floor system. There are some humps in certain areas because they went and changed the direction of the floor joists and where they connected. Some of them created a hump in the floor. So you got that in the dining room, my bedroom, stuff like this. So it's noticeable. Okay. Like I said, the upstairs washroom, nothing but a neo-angle corner shower, no bathtub, but there's room for a bathtub, but there is no bathtub there. For some reason, they didn't put one in. The main floor washroom is like 5 by 6. So it's a single 36-inch sink and just enough room for one person to be in. So yeah, this house is not one of your elaborate homes in the area. So you'll find that a lot of the houses will be selling for 200, 300,000 more than mine in the area. I'm on a corner lot. So as soon as you walk out the back door, I'm viewed by everybody. Like, it's probably one of the least private homes in the area. I look at about 20 houses when I walk out my back door because I'm a bi-level height. So as soon as you walk on the deck, everyone sees you. Okay. So anyways, the sales in the area I took were from Norman Park. You'll find that they're older than mine because really there was nothing in the adjacent streets to mine. So I had to go in, still in Norman Park, but a couple streets further away. So anyways, the average on these sales, and they're mostly 2 stories, they're similar in square footage. Of course, they're built in 87 to 91. The sale prices range from $410 to $430. Average sale price being at $206 a square foot. Works out to about $430 on the estimate for my square footage. But you have to adjust for the age of the house. So I was saying somewhere in the vicinity of 450 would be more appropriate, or 450, 460. So that's for the sales. So we're looking at 453.6 for ASR, 450 for the sales. Reference time sale on my property itself. Okay, so we're looking at 470,000 is what it sold for in the reference time period. Okay, 520 is it's too high on this property. I bought it for 520 or 540. 470 sounds appropriate for that time, but it was in better condition when he bought it than it is now. Average sale prices in Winnipeg, I'm showing you that in 2018 they were 322. 2021 they were 380. So that also gives you an ASR of 84 to 85%. Norcross, and I had already mentioned this to you, worked out to a 79 ASR. So that would bring it down to 426. So of these 5 approaches, I'm looking around the 450 to 470 mark just because of the sale in 2017, but it's not in the same condition that it was then. I actually have a piece of city property that's right adjacent to me because I'm a corner lot. So I've got to take care of the yard there too as well. So there's quite a bit of cutting the grass, and actually the land is pretty low along there, and they're not going to come up and put any soil on it. But you'll find that a lot, I think the reason my house is out of, is over assessed is because of where I am. Okay, because there's a lot of houses in that area that are selling for the 770s, 650s range, a lot of them being 2 stories. But those 2 stories basically have open floor systems in them that, they're 2 stories to the ceiling, and, basically have the shell of a 2,600 square foot house when they're only 2,100 square feet on the assessment. So yeah, I that's basically my case here. I feel that the assessment should be in the range of about 455 to 470 on this property.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, did you have any questions?
Yes. I hear you say you used to work for the department, Norm?
I did, yes.
Were you an assessor?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. Have you attended the Board of Revision before?
I have.
Okay. So we're that post-reference sales and comparable assessments, neither of which we accept as evidence?
That's evidence, yeah. This is just an ESR. It's not the sale prices that we're looking at.
Okay. Why did you choose a handful of 2 stories and not 1 stories or bi-levels to use as comparisons?
Well, 1 stories would be even higher per square foot. There are very few 1 stories in the area. And as for bi-levels, you'll find the same thing. Mine's an anomaly in the area almost.
You feel like 2 stories better represent your price per square foot than a 1 story would in comparing to a bi-level?
Well, there is about 600 square feet on the second floor. So yeah, I would say that it's probably more in line with the 2-story because I do have to climb a lot of stairs to get to my bedroom.
Okay. You adjusted roughly $20,000 for the 20-year age gap between the comparables and the subject?
I did because the condition of the property is not the best.
Are you aware of the condition of any of these properties?
Actually, you know what? No, just Florian, but that's the ASR. Actually, I did drive by some of them. Yeah, they're in good. I don't get into people's. You can't go into people's places, but I mean, from the outside, they look great. And a lot of places of this age range usually have new kitchens and new washrooms.
Okay, thank you. No other questions.
Thank you. Sanderson?
In regards to the items that you listed, and you have pictures here showing water stains on the ceiling from the roof leaking.
Correct. Yeah.
Have you had an estimate of what that will cost to repair, or have you had it repaired
I
already?
haven't looked into it yet. I was thinking about maybe for next year. I don't know, but for now, no, I haven't looked into it.
And the picture of the granite, the countertops,
Mhm.
you included a picture of that. I'm sorry, but I couldn't see the cracks in it. Where are the cracks?
No, cracks are at the seams.
Oh, okay,
You know, you could
Yeah.
go like this, and all of a sudden you almost cut your hand on the seams
okay.
because they did such a shabby job of installing it. They use a lot more joints at that time period that they installed it, or they had somebody that didn't know what they were doing. But the reason I put that in there is because that's a non-functional island. I mean, if you take a look at that island, you can put 1 seat there, and that's it. It only has room for legs for one person. It's kind of a useless island. You know, I have 2 seats there, but you can only really set 1 person at it.
So is it useful as a workstation? Like
Yeah,
what's
that's about
underneath it?
That's about it.
What's underneath the island?
It's got cabinets.
Cabinets. Okay. Okay. And humps in the floor you had mentioned
Mhm.
from the supports. Do you have pictures of the bumps in the floor?
Well, you wouldn't be able to see them. You know,
Okay.
you have to actually walk on it to notice. So it's not something you can really picture. I should have actually probably taken pictures of the joists, though, you know, just to show you what I meant by, you know, they were all over the place. You know, I've never actually seen that before. Just because I lifted some of the ceiling tiles and saw it.
So do you have intentions of dealing with that? No. Okay.
I don't know if I'm going to be here that long.
Okay. That's all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Babiak, just for the record, you're seeking in the range of 455 to 470?
Correct.
And I think that's all the questions I have, Madam Chairman.
Mr. Babbitt, page 2 of your evidence that you submitted, you talk about the assessments of other properties.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, and so just as I had reiterated in my opening monologue, we don't look at assessments of other properties.
It's not the
So-
assessments we're looking at, it's the SRs.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Assessment versus sale ratios?
Yes, okay. But
I'm
I'm
just-
just
I'm
letting
just-
you know, you
yeah.
mentioned other assessments.
No, I'm not basing it on their square foot rates or anything like that. I'm just showing you that 2021 had much higher values than 2018. And that's when I purchased my property.
And I have no further questions, so thank you very much for coming out today.
Oh, can I just add one thing?
Yes,
Just-
go ahead.
23 Florian, that's assessed at 455 on the assessments there at the top. That one I was going to buy when I bought this one. Okay, that one has an assessment of 455 on it. Take a look at the sale price. 655 is what it sold for, and that's the older part of Norman Park. Okay, and when you say that they're older, well, this one sold for 655, and the reason I bought my place is because we were looking for sales in the area to establish what I should be offering on that place. Okay, because they were asking $599 on it. So I came across this one when we were looking for those sales, and that's why I ended up buying this one, because it was a lot lower in price and there was a reason for it.
Oh, yes.
I have one additional question.
Of course.
That's all right. So do you live in the property then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming, Mr. Babbitt.
Well, thank you for hearing me.
Yeah, item 3 is coming to us via Zoom. Ms. Olson, it is your turn. If you could enable your sound and camera, please.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. I'm just first going to affirm your testimony. So for the record, if you could please state your name.
Jennifer Olson.
Do you affirm the evidence you will present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Olson.
Morning.
Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to start us with 94 Parkfield Drive.
Roll number 0800 399 7500, 94 Parkville Drive. It's in the Polbury neighborhood area. It's a one-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1960 with 1,139 square feet of living area, a full basement with basement finish, 3 bathrooms, central air conditioning, 1 fireplace, and a single attached garage, a lot size of just over 7,000 square feet. Our 4 comparables are all close by in the Polbury area. They're all one-story single-family dwellings constructed either in 1960 or 1961. Living areas ranging from a low of 1,062 square feet to a high of 1,276. All have full basements with basement finish, either 2 or 3 bathrooms. All have air conditioning. None of them have fireplaces, and they all have single garages, either attached or detached. Lot sizes range from a low of 5,442 square feet to a high of 6,926 square feet. The time-adjusted sale price for the 4 comparables ranges from a low of $287,800 to a high of $367,800, or time-adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $267.40 per square foot to a high of $311.77 per square foot. Subject property was purchased most recently by the current owner in August of 2020. Prior to that, the most recent sale was in 2014 for $269,900. Page 2 of my brief will show the close proximity of the 4 comparables, including comparable number 4, which is directly adjacent to the subject, number 92 Parkville Drive. In terms of location, I would say this is an excellent comparable. There's a few things that need to be adjusted for, though. 94 Parkville has a screen porch off the back of the house, about 200 square feet, that 92 Parkville does not have. It's also got the third bathroom. Lot sizes are comparable, and 94 Parkville has the fireplace, and 92 Parkville doesn't. So keeping all that in mind, I believe our assessment of 346 is probably in the right ballpark, and that's the number that I'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Olson, did you have any questions of the assessor on what he's just presented?
Sure. I guess just my only question is if something that is comparable, almost exactly, I mean, we're talking a sunroom that is old and in need of repairs, a fireplace that isn't usable. I would say they're almost exactly, and the property tax is $50,000 more than A, what I paid for it, and B, it's not even close to the comparable that literally is right beside. So where I guess do you come up with the $346,000?
From what I could tell between the two listings, because they're both public sales, like I said, obviously your property, the subject property, is larger. It has a third bathroom, it has a screen porch, and it has a fireplace. So for all of those reasons, I would suggest a higher value than the $287,800, which was the time adjusted sale price of 92 Parkville.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry, I've never done this before. Something that's completely new to me, a little bit intimidating. I guess I didn't realize it was quite so much of a process. The house that we are living in is in need of a lot of repairs.
Right. So Ms. Olson, right now, we're just asking questions of the assessor on the evidence that he's just presented. So now the panel is going to go and ask questions of him, and then it'll be your turn to give your presentation.
Okay, perfect.
Okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you.
Mr. Merritt.
Yes, Mr. Cooper, I'm looking at your comparable sale number 4, which is next to the subject. And I see that it sold in 16, in December, and it sold at $280. I'm just wondering, is it a bad street compared to the rest of your comparables?
No, I don't think it's a bad street. It doesn't receive any additional traffic or anything like that I'm aware of relative to the comparables. I think the low sale price is probably just indicative of what the homeowner said, that some work was probably needed to be done to the home, both the subject property and probably the same with comparable number 4, which is why I think they make good comparables.
So if I look at comparable number 3, which is, considerably higher sale-wise in August of 16, it sold for, what's that, $75,000 higher? So
that's right. For those extra 200 square feet of living area, the third bathroom, and actually comparable number 3 and comparable number 1.
Square footage is close to the same. I mean, you're talking very little, difference, maybe 100 square feet, 150, 40. It doesn't make that much difference. But I see that, the subject's got a single attached garage compared to a detached garage. So would it make that much difference? Because comparable number 3 is your highest sale.
That's right. Comparable number 3. Like I said, it's a larger, obviously, square footage, larger footprint. It also has that third bathroom. And both comparables 1 and 3 have a similar screen porch off of the back to the subject.
Okay.
We don't classify them as sunrooms unless they're of a certain quality and they're fully painted with glass. So that's why they're all no sunroom. It's a subject, comparable 1 and comparable 3 all have screen porches of approximately similar size from what I can tell off of the back. And I think that contributes in large part to the increase in sale prices.
Did you visit the subject property at all?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So, what made you, say these things about the comparable? Was it on the MLS listing or what?
All 4 comparables are public sales, so they all had public MLS listings, 20 photos, and a write-up. You can also see the screen porches. We have them in our model. We track screen porches and assign value to them, and that's part of the reason why the subject is coming out at 346, because that would be contributing value as well as the 3rd bedroom, as well as the other things I mentioned.
So, if I look at 1 and 2, there's a close range there in regards to the sale price of 326, 325, but number 3 pops out at 355, 355,000. So, what makes that one more so compared to the subject or the comparables?
It looks like that one might have had a bit more upgrading to be done. It lists a remodeled bathroom, furnace, and windows for the home. It looks like it's got a nice interlocking brick patio. But in terms of the interior, it looks like the kitchen is still original. The basement finish is wood paneling. It's not of new or high quality. Turning to page 2 of the map here, 37 Cabot. I believe that would be backing onto green space as well. Let me pull that up really quick. That would probably also contribute to the increase in value. Backing onto green space rather than backing onto another home.
All right. I thank you very kindly.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, I think you stated that you feel comparable number 4 being next door to the subject property is your best comparable. Is that what you had stated earlier?
It is a good comparable, but I think it's important to keep in mind the differences between the two, as there's an upwards adjustment that needs to be done for the screen porch, the bathroom. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're taking all of the information from the MLS listings, correct? Because these were all public sales.
Well, we have the information in our assessment system, and then we check it against the MLS listings to make sure that it's still correct. So we use both.
And did you have pictures on 92 Parkville Drive? Did you have
yes.
interior?
We have photos of all of them. They were all public sales. So 92 Parkville, I'm looking at right now. I wouldn't say it's had any real significant renovations to it. It looks like the windows were redone. The kitchen still looks to be fairly original. The bathroom has a new vanity, it looks like, but the rest is still original. Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Olson, if you would like to proceed, tell us about your property.
Sure. Moving into the house, you definitely find out things that you didn't know were to be true. I mean, when you're doing walkthroughs and purchasing, obviously when you're living in the home, you can start to see other things. When we moved in, we knew windows needed to be replaced. You could see cracks that they had, partially covered up, that sort of thing. Like I said, we purchased for $296,000, and that was pretty recent. It's the most recent sale in all of the comparables. And I mean, with the cost of real estate, you know, even to a year ago, I think the cost of my house is way more closer to the assessed value than the $346,000 that he's proposing. Yes, my house does have the extra bathroom in the basement. However, upon moving in, we realized the shower doesn't drain. It actually leaks into the basement, into the entire thing. We've had plumbers in twice now to try and figure out what to do with it. We actually might have to rip up all the concrete and re-put it in. As you know, that is a lot of money. So we're actually looking at a 2.5 bath, to be perfectly honest, because that shower is fully unusable. There looks to possibly be in the future some foundation work that needs to be had. The garage is cracking and almost looks like it's sinking a little bit. The kitchen needs a full remodel. The floors, the countertops literally are peeling. Both the floors are peeling, the countertops are peeling. It does have original hardwood to 1960, which definitely needs to be redone as well. Like I said, the fireplace isn't usable. Yes, we have a screen porch, but the floor is fully cracked. The roof of it is literally peeling and leaking. You know, we've had to replace the dryer vent. You know, the house just wasn't, I guess, taken care of as nicely as it should have been. The furnace filter probably hadn't been changed, and the whole time the people living before me, I don't know if they just didn't know how to change it or just didn't. But literally, I'd never seen something so terrible. All the windows, the front two actually looked like the front two bedroom windows looked as though they had been replaced. However, there's no dates on them, which, and they're actual awful windows. They leak, they do whatever. And all the back windows were original to the house, and all needed fully replaced because they didn't even open, to be honest. So that was something that we did as well. There was a broken basement window that actually didn't even latch, that obviously needed to be replaced so we didn't have rodents. But actually when we moved in, there were mice living in the ceiling, which we obviously didn't know upon going in and seeing the house. So we also need to replace the full ceiling in the basement of the house because there were a lot of rodents living up in those. Yeah, so we've been dealing with pool-ins, we've been dealing with getting new windows, someone coming to look a little bit at the foundation with the garage sinking, the sidewalk sinking. We've been lowering posts, the basement walls. I'm not sure when they were put in, but they're not the floating walls that they should be. So they're causing a lot of cracks and movement up in the main floor of the house. You know, central air, 20 years old. It's probably the loudest thing on the block. To be perfectly honest, I kind of feel bad for my neighbor who has to listen to it literally the whole time it's running, but it is still running, so that's a bonus. The fireplace isn't usable. We would have to get somebody to come in and really look at it. I mean, it's original to the home, and doesn't look like anything's really been done to it. The street that we're on, so when you're looking at the highest comparable that you had submitted, number 3, so when you're looking at 37 Cabo Crescent, it does back onto a beautiful green space. It actually has a beautiful park, fully kind of fenced, that sort of thing. Other than that, Parkville Drive, so the street that we live on, is a very busy street. So it touches St. Vital Road, and it also touches Dunkirk, and everybody uses it as a thoroughfare. So it is a very busy street, which the only other comparable to that would be the one right beside us at Parkville Drive. Weaver Bay is tucked in on a beautiful bay. Triton Bay, exact same thing. Cabo Crescent. None of them have the traffic that we have. either. I think that we've had other, our ensuite shower is leaking. It may need a full gut as well. They had put a tub, one of those tubs over top. It had a bunch of leaking and stuff, so that might actually be something that we need to be looking at replacing. So all 3 bathrooms in the home actually need work. We're looking at a lot of money in order to make this house better. Comparable to the assessed value of the $346,000 you're proposing. I paid $50,000 less, literally just over a year ago.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Kupfer, did you have questions?
I do, thank you. I'd like to take the applicant's point as well about Parkville being a busier street. I didn't realize it connected right through Dunkirk to River there, so there definitely would be more traffic than there would be on Cabot or Triton. So you said the fireplace doesn't work, but you haven't had it inspected, is that right?
Yes, we haven't had it inspected. I guess, yeah, I could have it inspected to see if it would be of use.
Okay. Well, generally they'll need service every once in a while anyways, so it's, yeah. You said you had a mouse problem? Mice are getting into the house? Fun. Have you had an engineer or anybody come out and take a look at the foundation yet?
Who, sorry?
An engineer or anyone to come out and have a look at the foundation yet? Like, is there significant cracking that's visible from the outside or anything that you would have noticed?
There is some cracking. So when you're looking literally at the front of the house, the floor is sinking, and there is a crack leading from the garage to the front of the house.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the listing here, it mentions the furnace was replaced in 2014. So maybe they hadn't changed the filter since 2014.
Never seen anything like that. You're talking dust bunnies. It literally, you couldn't poke a stick through it. You couldn't poke a piece of wire through it. It was rock solid. Probably they just either they didn't know to replace or they just left it. It was the same as the dryer. We actually replaced the entire dryer vent out because I don't think she'd even ever taken out the little thing out of the dryer to clean it. It was literally jam-packed full.
Yikes. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kupfer. Ms. Anderson?
Thank you. With regards to the rodent infestation, so you indicated you have had Poland's in to take care of that?
Yes.
And so what was the cost of doing that?
It actually wasn't that much money. It was about $350. And then with that, they come and do subsequent visits. And it seems that we have filled the holes and stopped them from coming in. We haven't had any more coming in, but they were living in the drop ceiling. So as you can imagine, anytime, so we had a leak in our ensuite. So we had to take down the ceiling in order to see through, and it's just covered, right? It's covered in mouse feces and urine, and the whole drop ceiling of the entire basement really needs to be replaced.
And so do you have an estimate for the cost that it'll take to do the remedial action for those? No?
No, I don't, sorry.
Okay. And in regards to the bathroom downstairs that you talked about, that the shower doesn't drain to the drain, it just drains into the basement. Did you have a cost estimate for what it would take to remediate that, or you're just thinking you're not going to use it?
So we had someone come in, and the cost to replace he was thinking was anywhere from $2,200 to about $5,000.
Okay. And you replaced windows, you said?
We
Windows?
did, yes.
So what was the cost of undertaking that?
$4,000. We replaced one basement window, the master bedroom window, the ensuite window, the kitchen window, and the dining room window. When we moved in, we had kind of the idea that like they were literally original, the old brown wood covers. What we didn't take into account is the front windows because they look newer, right? They're the newer white, whatever. When we, got a window guy in, when he came to look at them, like they're terrible. They leak. They're actually not any better than the ones in the back. So they're going to need replaced as well. It just wasn't in our budget cost wise to being replaced. The front, we have a big, beautiful front picture window. It's 3 windows in our living room, and one of them actually is cracked, which is kind of where the cracking on the outside of the house is seen from the garage. It's literally in the same proximity. And yeah, there is a big, large window there that is cracked, and to replace those 3 windows is $2,000.
Okay. And in regards to the foundation work, you haven't had somebody in to give you an estimate for what it would take to repair that?
No.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. We did have somebody come through to do the home inspection. And it was just something that he had pointed out. So yeah, it will be on our to-do list. Just not quite sure what needs to do first.
Thank you.
Mr. Merrick?
Thank you. Ms. Olson, what do you think the assessment should be?
$300,000. $310 at the most. I know real estate right now is high, but it's overpriced as well. Considering I'm the newest comparable, $50,000 less, I don't think looking at $40,000 less is a stretch, considering the amount of work that needs to be done in this home.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Olson, I just want to go back to the fireplace. Is it gas or wood?
Wood.
Wood, okay. And so you said it's non-functioning in terms of the draw, or is it plugged?
So it isn't plugged. It's backed into the garage with the garage floor sinking. And then the roof is a little bit spongy. We're having to be up on the roof a lot. There's a lot of trees in the area, which maybe could also account for the foundation issues that we're having. It is quite a treed lot, so we literally are taking care of the trees as well. That's something we did when we moved in. We're trying to take care of the trees and cut them back so they're not dumping on the house so much. Literally spring, summer, fall, we're having to get up on the roof. In the fall and springtime, it's literally once a week is almost not enough because the gutters and stuff get so full with all the trees. And then in the spring, it's actually the worms and that sort of thing that really is overtaking the house as well.
Sorry, Ms. Olson, I'm talking about the fireplace. So did you lit the fireplace?
We did not. No, I would never light it without having anyone come to inspect it. We fully don't use it.
Okay, thank you. And you said you're looking for 300 to 310?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Leave it with us, and thank you for coming this morning.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Item 5 is joining us by Zoom. Did you want to take a recess, or?
You guys okay to carry on? Mm-hmm. That's fine. Sure. Okay.
So this is Mr. Rosowski. You'll just have to unmute yourself so I can affirm your testimony. For the record, will you please state your name?
Wojciech Rzeszowski.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Zazakowski. Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to start us off on this property, 508 St. Catharines. Thank you.
Roll number 0603-244-7000, 508 St. Catherine Street in the Archwood neighborhood area. This is a one-story single-family dwelling constructed in 1936 with 721 square feet of living area, part area basement with no basement finish, only one bathroom, no air conditioning, no garage, a lot size of 4,150 square feet. And across from the park, directly across from the property is the park and kind of the same river running along. Comparables 1 through 4, all in the same area of Archwood, all one-story single-family dwellings constructed between 1928 and 1948. Living areas ranging from a low of 536 square feet to 748 square feet. Most of them do have some partial basement finish, although it's not much. They're all one bathroom with the exception of comparable 1, which is a 1.5 bath. Comparables 1 through 3 have air conditioning, while the subject in comparable 4 does not. And comparables 2 through 4 all have garages, while the subject in comparable 1 does not. Lot sizes ranging from a low of 3,298 square feet to a high of 4,948 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the 4 comparables between 183,900 to 239,500, or time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $307.39 to a high of $343.10. The subject property was purchased by the current owner privately, I believe in October of 2020. The current owner and applicant is also the neighboring property, I believe. If you turn to my map on page 2, you'll see the big property just to the east, I believe, is also owned by the applicant. So he bought the neighbor's property privately off market. I'm not sure exactly what the circumstances of the sale were. And you can also see on my map directly across from both the subject property and the owner's other property is green space area. And this leads down to the same river. So it's a nice location relative to the other comparables. Our 2022 assessment for the subject property is currently set at $230,000 or $319 per square foot, which is what we'll be recommending today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir, did you have any questions of the assessor on what he has just stated?
Yes, yeah, I have the questioning why you say that this is private sale. I bought this through MLS listing. I attached the sheet from the sales. I don't know if I attached this as a record. I sent this by email. It wasn't private sale.
Well, that's interesting. I wonder if it didn't come up because of the point after St. Catherine. I wasn't able to find it.
Yeah, MLS listing was 2020-21-263.
Well, the applicant's right. It was listed publicly in August 24th, 2020 is the list date. And it was sold through MLS for $150,000, as the owner said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all correct.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson, did you have any questions of the assessor?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Mr. Merritt?
No, I don't either. Thank you.
I just have one question, Mr. Kupfer, in regards to your comparables 1 to 4. most of them have a slightly different effective year built. The subject doesn't. It's at 1936. So I'm just wondering, because it's certainly higher in terms of square footage, price per square footage. Is that not given any weight?
The effective age of the builds?
Yeah.
Yeah, there would be some consideration for the effective age, which essentially represents the upgrades that have been done to the home. And I think that's shown not so much in the price per square foot, but in the total price with comparable number 4, 574 St. Catharines having no effective age and being far and away our lowest sale price there at $174,000.
Mm. Okay.
In regards to the subject property here, the only upgrades that are listed is the electrical was upgraded at some point. The remainder looks to be fairly original. The exterior looks like it needs some paint. The interiors looks like it's seen some upgrades. The flooring looks like it's been replaced. The kitchen countertops, perhaps, but other than that, the home does need quite a bit of work.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Saskowski, excuse me. Yes, would you like to give us your presentation, please, on your property?
Yeah, I just, basic, my point is that I paid 50,000 and this, the value of assessment value was for even the last 4 years was 230 or whatever. And the house wasn't really worth that. And we comparing the houses, all of the houses, they have front street and back lane. Even the oldest one has garage. And my house is one of the 3 houses which they don't have front street, even the map showing the St. Catherine. And the only access is from the back lane to the house, with limited parking, of course. And I don't think that this, 230,000 is the value representing this house, which I bought in 2020. I bought this for 150,000. An assessment I received from the beginning of 2021, yes.
Okay, thank you. Did you have any questions, Mr. Kupfer?
I just wanted to clarify, you said you have no front street. That's because it's all green space across from the house, right?
Yeah, is the river is steep bank, which is, falling off to the river.
Okay.
Which is not really park, unless it's in winter time. It's nice because river is frozen.
The listing that you directed me to here shows you paid the exact listing price and it was only on the market for 1 day.
Yes.
So was it a public sale?
I got the phone call from my agent, which is my client as well. We working with him, and he just gave me a call in the morning, and I just decided, in half an hour.
Okay.
Because I was looking to buy this, but he didn't. That was bought through the MLS and through the agent.
Okay. Are you currently renting out the house?
I'm planning to. I still have to fix lots of things and spruce up and make this presentable.
Okay. Thank you. No other questions.
Is that all your questions, Mr. Kupfer?
It is. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Yes. Are there houses on the other side of your property, like on the park side of your property? Do you have neighboring homes?
Yes, yeah, it's another two houses behind me along this along the back lane, and all of them are assessment values below $200,000. That's the small houses which are, even we have the common sewer. From those 3 houses, the sewer is going across the private properties to the Tremblay Street, because we don't have sewer on back lane. The sewer ending on St. Catherine in front of my house, or beginning of my lot.
Okay. So when you purchased the property was vacant? Or was there a tenant in the property?
No, it was vacant for 1 year.
Okay.
Good morning, and I would like to call this meeting back to order. And next on the docket is 42 Sundial Crescent. And good morning, sir, and Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to start us off on this property,
Can I
thank you.
just swear the applicant in?
Oh, yes, please, thank you.
So, Mr. Applicant, for the record, will you please state your name?
My name is Friday Amiageme.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you, Carol.
You're welcome.
Mr. Kupfer, the floor is yours.
Number 42, Sundial Crescent, roll number 0800-809-4700. We are now in the Dakota Crossing neighborhood area. This is a bi-level single-family dwelling constructed in 1987, 690 square feet of living area, a full basement with some basement finish, only 1 bathroom, central air conditioning, and no garage, a lot size of 4,407 square feet. Our 4 comparables are all quite close by, all in the Dakota Crossing area. They are all bi-level single-family dwellings constructed in either 1987 or 1988. Again, all very close in size, between 690 square feet and 713 square feet. All have full basements with at least some basement finish. They all have either 1.5 or 2 bathrooms, so the subject is a bit of an outlier and only having the 1 bath. They all have air conditioning. Only comparable 3 has a fireplace, and only comparables 3 and 4 have garages. Lot sizes for the 4 comparables range from a low of 3,149 square feet to a high of 4,424 square feet. So the subject's lot is a little bit bigger than the average comparable. Our time adjusted sale price per square foot for the 4 comps ranges from a low of $269,900 to a high of $281,600. Or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $391.16 to a high of $402.60. Subject property was purchased most recently by the current owner in July 2020 in a good public sale. According to the listing, there haven't really been any renovations or significant changes to the home. It appears to still be largely original. Page 2 of the brief shows the proximity of the comparables. Like I said, they are all quite close by, all very similar homes. They haven't seen much upgrading either, similar to the subject. The main difference is that comparables 3 and 4 have a garage and a smaller lot, and the subject has only the 1 bath, no garage, and a slightly larger lot. Our 2022 assessment for the subject property is currently set at $277,000. Or $401.45 per square foot, which I believe puts it in the range of the comparables. So that's the number that we'll be recommending today. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, did you have any questions of what the assessor has just presented?
Yes. My question for the assessor is this, Mr. Have you been to this subject property recently to be able to assess the structural and physical state of this property? And if no, don't you think the assessed value is arbitrary?
I don't see any recent inspection history for the property, either from myself or from anybody else. I would say we use comparable sales that are built around the same time, of the same size, likely built by the same builders. So those types of issues would likely be present in all of the comparables as well.
And I have a second question, please. Comparable 3, that is 59 Sundial Crescent, is a house of similar size, newer, was built in 1988. It has 1 bath, half bath, and a fireplace. And a single garage. Could you tell the panel why the assessed value of this comparable 3 is almost the same as that of the subject property that is older, have just 1 bath, no garage, detached garage, or fireplace, or they have bath?
I haven't reviewed the comparable assessments for the property, only the sale prices. From what I can see, there isn't a lot of difference from the quality of the interior finishings between your property and any of the other properties on Sundial or the comparables. They're still largely original. So no, I'm not sure I can explain that difference, that discrepancy in sale. Generally speaking, property sales, it's an imperfect market. There's always some variation between sale prices, plus or minus a few percent, for a large variety of reasons. But no, I don't see anything specific about why that sale price would be a little bit lower, despite the fact that it does have a garage.
Thank you. That is all I have for now.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Anderson.
Thank you. Just a couple of questions in regards to the land influence, the property being on an internal corner. Is there any allowance or reduction made because it's a quarter lot?
Yes. A lot of allowances.
Oh, sorry, this is to the assessor.
Yes. There's allowance, a big allowance given.
Sorry, the questions are to the assessor right now, sir.
Okay, sorry, sir. Sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you.
I would say interior corners, perhaps a slight consideration for the traffic and the cars that would go around it. Generally, external corners are where you see the additional traffic and undesirable influences. Interior corners in this type of area, I wouldn't see a lot. If the property located behind it, for example, you can see on the map the one facing onto South Glen. That would be an external corner. That one would certainly have a negative influence for being on an external corner and the additional traffic.
Okay, and it would have then, on an external corner, it would have an adjustment, a lower assessment adjustment for that purpose?
That's correct.
My other question is in regards to garages. What would generally be the value of a garage, a single or a detached, multiple garage?
For an older single garage, I would say your market value is probably in the 10 to 12,000 range if it's still in reasonable condition. And for a double, you'd probably be looking closer to 15 to 20. These aren't large doubles. This isn't like a 700 square foot large garage. It would be a smaller double. I think anything over 16 feet wide, we track as a double or a multiple garage on our sheets. Yeah, so single garage, I'd say 10 to 12. A smaller double garage, probably 15 to 20.
Okay, thank you. Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Mr. Merritt.
Thank you. Mr. Kuffer, I noticed that you have comparables and the range is very close. You have a $10,000 range for your comparables, so I commend you for finding good comparables. I have no further questions, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. I have no questions at this time. Sir, would you like to give us your presentation, please, on your home?
Thank you very much. Yeah, the subject, as the assessor have rightly put it, is 42 Sunday Crescent, and the row number is 0800809470. This is a single dwelling bi-level building, 690 feet, square feet, full basement, just one bathroom, and that's all. Comparing it with the comparables provided by the city, I have comparable one here. A building that was built 1987, the same year the subject building or property was built. But the living area is slightly on comparable one, is slightly bigger than the subject property. It has full bath, just like the subject property. It have half bath, which does not exist in the subject property, and showers, which does not exist in the subject property as well. And going to the comparable two, a relatively newer building built in 1988, and the living area is bigger, much bigger than the subject, 713 square feet. And it has a half bath in addition to the full bath. And go to comparable three, slightly newer building. It has a half bath, half shower, and has a fireplace, and with a single detached garage. Then I go to comparable four, a newer building built in 1988, a slightly bigger living area of 691 square feet, a full basement or finished basement. It has two full bathroom and multiple garage. And if you look at the comparison, you discover that the value given, assessed value, which is $277,000 given to the subject property, which does not have, which is lacking in all these other facilities I have mentioned in the comparables given by the city. You discover that all of them have almost the same assessed value. And I believe that is arbitrary. And the proper assessment was not done. I believe the assessment should have been $250,000. If you look at the evidence I submitted, you realize, if we go to page 13, 14, and 15 of that evidence, you'll be able to see the level of deterioration of the shingles and wood for the roofing component of the property. You can see the picture there. The gap between shingles is so wide that if urgent attention is not given to have that roof replaced, then everything will come down. And if you go to page 16 and 17, you'll be able to see even the picture of trees around the building. And these are really big trees that can affect the foundation of that property. And there is need to remove those trees so that their root will not destroy the basement. And this is going to cost money. For the roof, I have contacted a contractor to have a look, and he told me that it will cost like between $6,000 to $7,000 to have the entire shingle replaced and the vents increased. And for the removal of trees around the building, that will cost $500. And if you look at page 19 and 20 of that evidence, which I submitted to this honorable panel, you discover that the furnace, the life of that furnace is gone. This is the furnace, original furnace that came with the building. And there is urgent need to replace that furnace. And that is going to cost a lot of money. And the market survey we have done indicated that will require up to $5,500 to $6,000 to have that furnace replaced. Then, if you go to page 21 and 22 of that evidence, it shows the cooling system of the building, which is the air conditioner. The air conditioner is the original one that came with the building, and the lifespan is gone, and there is need to replace it immediately. And the cost of replacement will cost like $2,500 because the air conditioner doesn't work now. I have spent a lot of money to repair the furnace just to keep it going until we are able to raise money to have it replaced. Then you look at the insulation system in the building. They have a picture of the attic in the roof. Discover that it's not enough and there is need to add more so that to be able to conserve energy so that there will be much energy loss or heat loss in the building. And that will still cost me some money. Even the water heating system in the house is still old. It's the original that came with the building. It's been there since 1987. It hasn't been replaced. Then there is the stairway to the basement. There is no handrail on it, and there's need to put a handrail there, and that if we are able to put it, will certainly improve the safety of persons that uses that stairway. I know it is the comparison, the decision is mainly based on comparison, but I decided to highlight all these issues that are found in this building, which I believe if a reassessment is done, if we in city have someone to come to the property and do a proper assessment, I'm not sure the 277,000 assessed value will be the value of that property. I believe the property is overvalued and the reasonable value of this property shouldn't be more than between 250,000 and 260,000. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kupfer, do you have any questions?
Was this inspection report prepared before or after you purchased the home?
It was done immediately after I purchased the home.
Okay. Have you made any changes to the home since you've taken possession?
The only thing we have done, those things that are urgent, which is the tree remover around the building because they were really big. So we removed those trees. Those were the only things we have done. Then the dryer, the washing machine, they were bad. Then we replaced those one as well. And the what is it called? In the bathroom, the faucet and those the wash and basin was replaced as well.
The listing, the only upgrades the listing mentions, I believe, are the windows. Do you know if all of the windows were replaced or just some of them?
Yeah, all the windows were replaced.
Okay. Other than that, it appears to be largely original back to 1987.
Original, yes,
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
In about 25 years, that's about what you get out of shingles in a furnace. So I'm not surprised that those are about ready to be replaced.
Oh yes, it's the original shingle that came with the building.
Yeah. Okay. I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Anderson
I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
and Mr. Merrick.
I have none, thank you.
I don't have any questions either. You gave a very good presentation. I think you covered everything. And thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay, and the applicant on item. Oh, sorry. I'm not sure what's happening. He's joined us twice. Hello, Mark.
Yes.
Are you in the meeting twice?
Okay.
I'm gonna actually put one of you back.
Just a second. I need to stop YouTube video.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so just for the record, can you please state your name?
My name is Mark Serebnitsky.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Mr. Cupford, if you would, we're going to hear 151 Portside Drive. If you would like to proceed.
Roll number 0802-1133-200, 151 Portside Drives. We're back where we started in the Norman Park area. This one's a one-story single-family dwelling constructed in 2009 with 1,710 square feet of living area, full basement with basement finish, 3 bathrooms, central air, 1 fireplace, an attached double garage, a lot size of just over 5,000 square feet, and the property is situated just next to a small walkway which connects adjacent streets. Comparables 1 through 4, all in the Norman Park area, all one-story single-family dwellings constructed between 2008 and 2013. Living areas ranging from a low of 1,485 square feet to a high of 2,298 square feet. All with full basements. Only comparables 3 and 4 have finished basements, similar to the subject. Comparables 1 and 2 without the finished basements are only 2 baths. Comparable 3 has 3 baths, similar to the subject, and comparable 4, being a little bit larger, is 4 bath. All have central air, all have attached double garages, no pools or sunrooms or anything like that. Lot sizes do vary a bit, as some are on the corners, ranging from a low of 5,335 square feet for comparable number 1 to a high of 6,692 square feet for comparable number 3. Time adjusted sale prices for the four comparables ranges from a low of 461,900, a comparable number 3, our small one there, to a high of 758,500, which is our high one, our larger one at comparable number 4. Sale price per square foot is fairly tight, ranging from $300.05 per square foot up to $330.07 per square foot. The subject property was most recently purchased in August of 2020 by the current owner. It was a public MLS sale. Prior to that, the property hadn't transacted since 2011, to the best of my knowledge. Page 2 of my brief shows how close our four comparables are. Comp number 3, 2 properties away over on Van Hall. Comparable number 4, I'd say 5 or 6 properties away, just on the corner there of Marine Drive, and the others also quite close by. So in terms of proximity, they're all quite good. In terms of value, the characteristics of the home, I'd say that the subject falls somewhere between comparable number 3 and comparable number 4, kind of our 2 extreme ends there. 1,485 square feet and 2,298 square feet. Subject property is currently assessed at $595,000 or $347.95 per square foot. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any questions what the assessor has just stated?
You ask me?
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, like, no, like, I mean, don't have a lot of questions. I didn't compare properties, and I'm grateful that assessor presented those comparisons. It gives me a little bit more better picture. My application was based on purchase price, like market value. And I mean, if you want me to continue, I'll continue, but no questions more.
No questions, that's fine. We'll move on to your presentation after we finish asking questions.
Okay.
Ms. Anderson?
No, I have no questions of the assessor. Thank you.
Mr. Merritt?
I have just a couple. Mr. Kupfer, all your comparable sales are in Norman Park, correct?
Yes, all quite close by.
Okay. And but I see that you have old sales. You know, they're all in 2016. No, nothing close to the reference date for the market value.
It's a bit of a balancing act for sure. These were, I feel like, the 4 best representations of the property. I could have found some newer ones, but they would have been less representative of the characteristics of the subject.
So I see that the all the comparables, they come in at a range per square foot prior to the adjusted sale price. It's $300 to $320 a square foot, whereas the subject property is coming in at $348. So any comments in that respect?
I would say that the $347.95 is probably a bit high for the subject, given the 4 comparables that are shown. The comparables would suggest, like you said, that the appropriate range is somewhere in the $300 to $350 a foot range. So at $347, I would agree that we probably are high.
Any recommendation?
Not at this time.
Okay, I thank you.
And I have no questions. Thank you, Mr. Kupfer. If you'd like to proceed, sir.
Yes, so as I mentioned before, my application was based on my purchase, and the house was in the market for 62 days. Initially was listed for $599, like almost $600, and then price was dropped to $579,900, and purchase was $555. Initial offer was $550, even though it was higher, but I was sold my property. I just didn't have much choice. I needed to buy the house. Based on the evidence provided by assessor, I see that it's really like, I mean, if I would see it before, I would offer even less probably. But Yes, it's like what I compared. For example, if I compared comparable number 3, it's a little smaller property, but the property, house, the square footage, but the property larger by 32%. So 5,000 square feet, 500,000 square feet mine, and 6,000 and almost 700 square feet for this property. And the square footage on this house is $311. So if it's kind of in between, in the middle of the other cost of the per square foot. So if I kind of made the calculation that if based on this calculation, if my property assessed for $311 per square foot, the price would be $531,000. So generally, I'm asking it to reduce the price somewhere in between $530 and $550. I think it would be fair, for sure, not the price that's assessed right now. And like the things, I don't know if, again, it's more my application more assessed on the market value and the properties now that we compare. But just to make a note that the properties on the internal corner, I heard other applicants that internal corner doesn't affect much, but it's a lot of traffic near my house and I have to keep my windows closed all the time. And also like needed to do some repairs in the house because everything was in original state inside, and not huge repairs, but and the stucco has to be repaired from outside. We'll deal with it next year. So yeah, this is pretty much all.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Cuthbert, did you have any questions?
I was hoping you could elaborate a bit on the repairs. Is it just a bit of painting and patching, or has anything actually been replaced in the home?
Well, I needed to replace the sink, repair carpet in the basement, painting the whole house, because it was original kind of already cracked and tired. And outside the stucco cracked and poorly patched, and on the back, so like I just didn't have opportunity this year to repair, but I will need to deal with it next year.
Okay, I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson.
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Mr. Merritt.
So what is the correct square footage? Is it 1710 or is it 1756?
1710, this is what...
Okay. Okay. So on the MLS, it's incorrect.
No.
Okay. I don't have any further questions, Ben.
And sir, you purchased this property in August of 2020?
That's right.
Yes. So you haven't undertaken any major renovations since that time?
No, like, I mean, I did during the winter time, I did, as I say, painting whole house, repairing the carpet, replacing the sink that was cracked. But major, like building something or adding something, no. It's all original state where it was built, my understanding.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions, and thank you for appearing this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
The applicant on item 8 is also recognized by Zoom. Good morning, Ms. Bovino. You'll just have to unmute your microphone, please.
Hi there.
Hi. For the record, can you please state your name? Madam applicant.
Bovino.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I also have my husband here with me, Mario Bovino.
Will he be speaking?
Yes.
Okay, so if I could just see him.
Morning.
I don't see him. Is he there with you?
We're sharing a Zoom.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Hi, good morning. Just for the record, can you please state your name as well, sir?
I do.
Can you say your name, please?
Mario Bovino.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I don't see him.
Hello there.
Hi. I just need you to say the evidence you'll present is the truth and nothing but the truth?
It is.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to begin on 3486 St. Mary's Road.
Roll number 0802117070, 3486 St. Mary's Road. It's in the St. Vital Perimeter South neighborhood area. It's a one-story single-family dwelling, newly constructed in 2019, 2,898 square feet of living area with a finished walkout basement, 5 bathrooms, central air conditioning, 2 fireplaces, an attached triple garage, and an in-ground pool on a lot size of 551,000 plus square feet. Has no sewer or water. Big adjustment, of course, for comparable number 3 is in the basement. There's no basement finish at all. It's only a 3-bath. In terms of the river property itself, I would only be a couple percent at most for being river adjacent.
Thank you. That's all my questions. Ms. Bovino, if you would like to proceed.
Sure. On any of those properties, do they have gas? The ones you've used comparable?
Sorry.
Gas furnaces? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, just gas lines that go, like we have no gas, we have no water. And we did have to build a septic field for sure. But we had to, we weren't even able to bring gas to the house during the build, because they were going to charge us something like $14,000 to bring gas. So I'm just curious if the other comparables you've used have gas.
I can't say for certain, but given where these comparables are located and given what you told me, I would suggest comparables 1 and 3 then likely don't, or sorry, comparables 2 and 3 likely don't, whereas comparable 1 probably would have that option.
Okay, and even with during the build, we had to pay to bring hydro in, where these comparables you have, I'm pretty sure didn't have to because they're closer to the major street. Our cost to build was $266 per square foot. The land value, you guys all know, is $300,000. We had to spend over $100,000 to flood proof. When we took the permits out, you have to go through city and then river and stream. So you're following their guidelines on what you needed to do. We did that. And then what happened was when we were ready to start building, they told us that we couldn't because the flood line that comes in, the provincial one and the city one, if you're looking at the river from the backside, goes straight until it gets to our property, and then it bent and came out, and then like it went in a V shape and then followed through straight. So then what happened was we had hired KGS to come in and just assess for piles to be poured. But because they said after that we had to push back some more, we had already done, according to what they said, 350 feet. We had to push back some more, so move all the fill back because of the flood line, the way it ran. And it ended up costing us more to hire the geotech to follow through on the other stuff. And because it was the location of where the piles were going to go, it cost us another $14,000 to hire the geotech for the error that they gave us with the permit departments, both with river and streams. I mean, They should have known prior to making us do all that work and giving us the permit that that line ran right across and feed out into where we needed to go. So we incurred more costs there. Sorry, my husband had to leave, so I'm reading his messy writing here. Did you get the pictures we sent you?
I haven't shared them yet.
Okay, so with those, I just wanted to bring up that there was not the direct neighbors, but the neighbors close to us had filed a complaint with the city about drainage of the water. We followed everything we needed to do. Natural drainage there would be towards the river in that area. Prior to us developing it, they didn't care about their water and that it was all draining into our land, and it became pretty much a swamp there. But instead of them trying to take care of their own property, the city had mandated us to build a swale draining their water in through our land, and we had to then build culverts to drain it out of our property, which I don't think is fair. And the city wants us to turn around and pay for inspectors to come out to make sure the swales are built the way they needed to be built. I don't think that's our responsibility. The other two neighbors next to us took care of their own land and built their own swales that go to the city ditch, which would be at the front of St. Mary's. But instead, it cost us $10,000 to build that swale after they filed a complaint, draining their water through our land and us having to revert it out under our driveway and everything.
Sorry, if I can just interrupt for a moment.
Sure.
The pictures that you are referring to, there were 5 photos submitted, I believe, this morning. I've just emailed them to the assessor and panel members. If you check the file folder on the bottom of the screen, you should see a new file in there marked 2151 applicant. Yeah, open that up, Carrie. Double click. Then go to, when you're on it. Or here.
I see. Yeah.
Sorry for the interruption. I think everybody should have those photos you're referring to now.
Yep. If you would like to proceed, Ms. Bozino.
Sure. So those are just pictures to show how we develop the land. And yes, the lot size is 12.87. So you're very close to 13 acres there. We had spent a total of $175,000 to flood-proof and improve and get it ready for build and further development that we wanted to do to the adjacent properties. So you can see where we built the house. We went deep into the lot so that our house was on the river. And the rest of the land, we went in for subdivision, that we wanted to subdivide the other land to 1 acre lots. And because they said no to 1 acre lots, they said yes to 2 acre lots. The reason for that is because there is no water and sewer there. So you would need septic and holding tanks. So we just put that on hold. But the entire, when we went in for the permit, it's one title. So it is for, we did the flood development or followed the flood laws and developed the entire property according to what Rivers and Streams and the city said to do. The swales ruined our ability to subdivide right now in the future. And I don't think it's fair. Any one of you that own a property, I'm pretty sure you wouldn't want your neighbor's water coming through your lot. There is a city ditch that runs parallel with that road that's never serviced. We've been maintaining it. There's fallen trees in there. And then there is the city ditch right at the front. So, I mean, any one of those neighbors could have built their own swale to drain to the front ditch, to the city ditch. The floodway, the city went and built this monster viewing thing for the floodway. It is a terrible looking building. It sits about 3 meters higher than above the hill, which now takes away the privacy that we had and the privacy of those neighbors across the river too. There's telescopes there. We just moved into the property last summer. We have nothing but problems there with the partying, with the drought that we had this year. We had, they were letting off firecrackers. You phone the city of Winnipeg police and they say it's not their jurisdiction. You phone the parks. The guy comes and checks, and people parking on the floodway. He has trouble with them all the time. He doesn't even have a key to the gate to let people in and out. Long story short, we were worried more about the fireworks because with the drought, could have started a fire and it would have done a lot. This has overall decreased the property value. When I pulled up comparables, you have on here that it's low traffic on St. Mary's Road. It's not low traffic. It's a large amount of, it's heavy traffic all day long, morning and night, between the traffic with everyday commuting, people going to St. Adolphe commute there, but it's the semi trucks going back and forth. It is a busy street. It's not low to medium traffic. Christie Road, like I said, I pulled up 6 comparables there, all the properties that I pulled up are higher square footage than my property. A beautiful street, low traffic, and the assessed values range anywhere from 641,000 to 1.14 in most cases. I did pull up some comparables on Fraser Road. Those assessed values range between 554,000 to 677,000. The biggest thing that I have here is if you take on St. Mary's Road, there is a property that was just built and the company runs under there. I pulled up their comparable. If you pull up Upal Construction, they have I'm sure it's over 7,000 square foot house there. I tried to locate the comparable for that. And the city assessed at 220,000. He runs a business out of there. And I can't pull up details on that property, but it is a much larger home than mine. And you have it assessed at 220,000 as a vacant lot. And he runs a business out of there. You've got another one on 2930 St. Mary's Road assessed at 800,000. Similar, 2,600 square feet, 1 story, built in 2019, 800,000. You've got this other one on 2888 St. Mary's Road, 3,840 square feet. You have it assessed at $678,000. It is a larger home than ours, built in 1989, assessed for it. That's where I'm having a problem understanding your cost per square foot. And then there was a one that's just next door to that fenced in lot, 2,238 square feet, 528,000. So I'm just having a hard time with these comparables. We don't feel that the assessed value at 1.495 is fair. We're thinking it should be closer to the 1 million mark.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Cuthbert, did you have any questions?
I don't have any comparable evidence here. All I got was the pictures of the exterior.
That's all that was submitted.
Yes.
Okay. Regarding the land, so you paid $300,000 for it in 2015. Can you summarize for me again what was done just to the land before we get to the house?
Well, when we went in for permits to build the house, we had to build up the land because it sat lower than the other properties adjacent to us. So we had to build it up according to the flood laws. So that bringing in fill and stuff and spreading it, the approximate cost was $175,000, which again doesn't add value to the property. We have to follow the flood laws to build there.
Why wouldn't that add value to the property?
Well, you're not
so
going
that
to
you
get.
can build on it.
You're not going to get dollar for dollar there on the cost.
You purchased it for $300,000 and it wasn't a buildable lot, and then you had to spend another $170,000 to make it a buildable lot. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the lot value then is then closer to $470,000.
Sure.
Okay. You said your build cost. You gave me a price per square foot number. What was that?
266.
266 by 2898. So you're looking at a little 771,000 ish. Does that sound about right?
Yep.
Okay. Did that include the full basement finish?
Yes.
Okay. Did that include the in-ground pool?
Yep.
Okay. Do you know why the permit values were stated higher than that?
I'm sorry?
You know why the values that are on the permits that were submitted are higher than that?
What we didn't know at the time.
Okay. And you said this was a self
cost. I mean, we had extra costs coming in, right? When we started getting quotes for things.
Yeah. And you said it was a self-build?
Yep. We subcontracted.
Okay. And you feel like you probably would have saved money through a self-build? That's why you did it?
Yep.
Yeah. So the market value price would be higher than $770,000 or $771,000.
Not much higher.
If it wasn't a self-build?
No, not much higher. If you're using your two comparables on Turnbull Drive and Fraser Road at 317 to 310, I don't think we're out to lunch here with the 266. Like how much more? $40 more a square foot?
For a brand new home with a fully finished walkout basement, yeah, it would be considerably higher than the price per square foot for a 2-story without a basement at all.
And have you taken into account everything else that ended up costing us money and that we're draining money? We're draining and I assume you didn't know this, the swales that we had to build to drain the neighboring lots into our property?
No, I wasn't aware of the swales. It seems like you're thinking of this in reverse, though. You've spent a considerable amount of money on the property and you feel like it should be assessed at less because you put so much money into it?
No, I'm using comparables in and around the area that are much lower than us.
Comparable assessments.
Comparable assessments, yeah. Okay. Right on St. Mary's and Christie Road.
Okay. I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Just in regards to the property you mentioned about subdividing the additional lands that are fronting the property, was your subdivision declined or you put it on hold at this time?
We put it on hold just because they require 2-acre lots and we weren't prepared to do that at this point in case they do bring water and sewer. So it's on hold.
Okay. So you have a well and you have a septic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, those were all my questions. Thank you.
I have none, Madam Chairman.
I'm just wondering, can you speak to the finishes inside your home?
Sure. What did you just?
Well, I'm assuming because it's a brand new build. Do you have granite in your kitchen or in your bathrooms, or do you have hardwood flooring throughout the home? Or
we have fine. There is no carpeting throughout the whole house. It's all vinyl planks, vinyl tiles throughout the entire house. No, I don't have granite countertops. They were flow form stone tops. And the finishes are pretty basic. There's no high end, no marble floors, no granite countertops. Was there something else specifically?
No, that's fine. Mr. Kupfer, I just want to redirect to you. When, I'm assuming this property was inspected?
The assessor drove past the home in October 7th, 2020. We weren't doing inspections at that time due to COVID, and then a phone call was done with Mario after that to confirm the attributes of the build.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Bavino, you're looking for your assessment to be 1 million? Is that what you had stated?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you very much for appearing today and your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we do not have an applicant present for item 9. Would you like to push that to the end or read it now?
I think we'll just read it now.
Okay.
Where are we?
Item 9.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to proceed and read out the roll number, et cetera, on item number 9, McMeans Avenue, we don't have an applicant present.
Roll number is 09002049300374 McMeans Avenue. It's a bi-level, side-by-side, located in the Kildare-Redonda neighborhood area, 688 square feet of living area, full basement with basement finish, 1.5 bathrooms, central air conditioning, no garage, a lot size of just over 3,100 square feet. The 2022 assessment for the subject property is set at $202,000 or $293.60 per square foot. I haven't had any contact with the applicant, so I'm not sure why they aren't present, but we'll be recommending the $202,000 today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have the next?
Yes, applicant number 10 is appearing by Zoom. So I will get. Good morning. I'll just have to ask you to unmute yourself. There we go. Madam applicant, for the record, can you please state your name?
Claire Hutchinson.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Sorry, just before we begin, Ms. Hutchinson, I would like just to let you know that your evidence was shared without issue. So everybody's got what you have submitted, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning. Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to start us off, thank you.
Roll number 072204555500. This is 295 Morgan Crescent. We're now in the Crestview neighborhood area. This is a 2-story side-by-side constructed in 1967 with no effective age. Living area just over 1,100 square feet. Full basement with some basement finish. 1.5 bathrooms. No central air. No garage. And a lot size just under 3,700 square feet. Our 4 comparables are all close by in the Crestview area. All 2-story side-by-sides. Constructed between 1968 and 1972 with no significant changes or upgrades. Living areas ranging from a low of 1,008 square feet to 1,100 square feet. All have full basements, all have at least some basement finish with the exception of comparable number 2. All are 1.5 baths. They all have air conditioning with the exception of the subject property, at least according to our records. And none of them have garages. The lot sizes are all pretty close, between 3,048 square feet and 3,345 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the four comparables ranges from a low of $202,800 to a high of $233,500, or time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low of $184.36 to a high of $231.65. We have no recent sales for the subject property. My understanding is it's a long-time homeowner. We also have no recent inspections for the history, so I'm not entirely sure what the condition is on the inside. So we'll wait to hear from the homeowner before making any recommendations. Page 2 of the brief, of course, shows the layout of the comparables 3 and 4, fairly close by, and then comparables 1 and 2, just north of Hamilton there on Lake Ridge Road. So like I said, at this time, we'll be recommending the $222,000. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hutchinson, did you have any questions of what the assessor has just presented?
Just one, just so that I'm knowing clearly. You said that these comparable resident houses have no upgrades inside?
They have no effective age that's been assigned in our system. I would say all of these houses have at least some upgrades, minor upgrades. They're built in the 60s and 70s, of course, so they're not going to be all entirely original, but nothing significant enough that it was caught by our department and assigned an effective age to it.
Okay.
Is that all your questions?
Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
And Mr. Merritt?
I don't have any questions either. Thank you.
And I don't either. Ms. Hutchinson, if you'd like to proceed and give us your presentation on your property.
Okay. Honorable board members and assessors, I'm hereby appealing my 2022 property assessment of $222,000 for the following reasons. The house was built in '67 and it is in poor shape with almost no upgrades except the 2 toilets. And there was an upgrade to the linoleum floor in the kitchen, but that was 20 years ago, and the kitchen floor is now in very poor shape. The kitchen and bathrooms are still the original, with chipped and cracked cabinetry, peeling wallpaper, scuffed flooring. Hardwood floors are very scuffed with a lot of stains. The tubs and the sinks are marred with stains. The house needs painting inside and outside. There's no air conditioning in this house. The house has never been insulated properly, even from 1967. It is cold in the winter and hot in the summer. The house has to be totally re-insulated. The original windows are from 1967 and they're still on the house, as well as the original window sills. And ice forms on these windows in the winter, and then it melts in the summer, which causes the window sills to get even worse. And one of the main problems that has come up, I'd say in the last 10 years, is that there's a foundation crack in the house, and that is located on the front right-hand side of the basement. This crack needs to be shored up with dirt and sand every year, or water will leak into the basement. The back fence of the house is in poor shape and needs replacement. There's a telephone pole in the backyard. I don't know if it has a transformer attached to it. I'm just not aware of that. In support of my application for revision, I have enclosed an assessment letter from Jeff Archambault from Century 21 Advanced Realty. In 2019, he walked through the house and noted the same problems I'm itemizing above. I quote from his letter, "At this time in today's current market condition, I feel that the value of the home is approximately $190,000 to $195,000. The Winnipeg City assessment shows the value at $222,000, but the work mentioned would need to be done prior to the home being worth that value. And Jeff attaches 5 comparable properties. I know they're not the same as what you had given us, but these are located in the immediate area of the city, and they're similar in size and style. And they've sold in the past few months, and this was in 2019. One is very similar, and it sold for $180,000 and was in rougher shape than mine. The others are in the $220,000 plus range, but have had a number of updates done to them throughout the years. So, since Jeff assessed the value of the house to be no more than $195,000, I'm requesting to get my property reassessed to between $190,000 to $195,000. So that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kupfer, did you have any questions of the applicant?
Just two. Does the home, you said it does not have air conditioning, central air in the house, correct?
Oh, no, it does not.
Okay. Did it ever, did it have air conditioning when it stopped working? Or never did, okay.
Never did.
The basement finish, is that all original, like wood paneling and carpets?
It's original to 1967, yes.
Okay. Have you had any issues in the basement with like cracking or water seepage or anything like that?
Yes, like I said, there's a foundation crack in the front right corner of this basement, and it has to be shored up on the outside with sand and dirt every year, or water will seep into the basement.
Okay. Yeah, given the condition of the house, like I said, we haven't had an inspection in some time. I would recommend moving it then to the low end of the rate, the low end of my comparable range here at about 200,000, down from 222. I don't have any more questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hutchinson, so the assessor has just stated that he would recommend lowering your assessment to 200,000. Do you wish to accept that?
Yes, I'll accept that offer.
Okay. All right. Well then, thank you very much.
Thank you
for taking the time and appearing today.
Thank you.
So the applicant on item 10 is appearing on Zoom. Okay. And she's just connecting.
I'm assuming panel, you're okay to hear the last
I would have been there anyways.
Hi there, good morning. Still. So Madam Applicant, for the record, can you please state your name?
Sure, it's Jennifer Queen.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning. Mr. Kupfer, if you would like to start us off at 553 Berwick Place, please.
Roll number 12019104000, 553 Berwick Place, in the Lord Roberts neighborhood area. It's a 2-story side-by-side constructed in 1957 with no effective age assigned. Living area of 988 square feet. I believe it had some minimal basement finish, maybe the walls, but not enough for us to consider it a finished basement, so we just left it as no. Only 1 bathroom, no central air, no garage, a lot size of 3,850 square feet. Our 4 comparables are all pretty close by. 2 of them are on Berwick Place as well, all in the same neighborhood. All 2-story side-by-sides, constructed in the same time frame between 1957 and 1958. All very close in size, between 962 square feet and 988 square feet. All have full basements, just like the subject. Most of them have some partial basement finish. It's not particularly well done in any of these. Only comparable 2 doesn't have the air conditioner, similar to the subject. None of them have garages, and all of them have fairly similar lot sizes, between 2,800 square feet, 3,800 square feet. Time adjusted sale prices for the four comparables ranges from a low of 219,800 to a high of 225,900. Our time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low $226.11 to $234.82. Subject property was purchased most recently by the current owner in August of 2020. I believe she paid less for the home than we've got it assessed at, which triggered the appeal. If you turn to page 2 of my map, you can see the close proximity of the four comparables. Of note here, the big property behind the subject, 553 Berwick, I believe that's a new apartment building or a new condo building that's going up and probably would have influenced the sale price downwards due to additional construction and other influences. The 2022 assessment for the property is currently set at $228,000, or $230.77 per square foot. I believe there was some permits taken by the new owner, potentially a kitchen rewire and some plumbing upgrades and electrical upgrades. So we'll wait to hear from the owner before recommending a value. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have any questions of the assessor, what he's just presented, Ms. McQueen?
Yeah, I do have a couple. So in 2018, I believe the property you mentioned behind the subject would have been still commercially zoned at that point. Like, would that have been taken into account in that assessment?
It wouldn't have been, no. We don't have the land influence yet that's commercial adjacent, which is what we assigned to it, which would knock down the value by quite a bit.
Okay. And then when you talk about lot sizes, like it is a larger lot, but the way that it's situated on the lot, like do you take into account like whether or not a garage could be built on this lot?
That's a really good question. As far as I know, our model would not take the orientation of the lot into consideration. That's a good point. The property has quite a bit of frontage and then very little at the back, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yep, you're correct. And then what weight do you give to an unfinished versus finished basement of a property this size?
It's a good question, and there's no catch-all answer, right? Like I said, with your home, I think it has finished walls, but no ceilings or floors, or at least it did at the time of the sale in the pictures that I reviewed. Generally, we're not going to consider a basement as being finished unless at least it has at least 2 out of those 3 things, and you need to have at least finished walls and ceilings, and then maybe an exposed roof or vice versa. It's not a large basement space, so it wouldn't be an extravagant cost to finish it. Yeah, so it entirely depends, I guess is the answer.
Okay. And then when you're doing your time projections, like would you say your numbers get less accurate the further away you have to project in terms of timelines from the actual comps you used? And then you're going to that April 1st, 2018 date. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, that's correct. We track assessment change percentage essentially between assessment cycles and then assign them based on market region. Generally speaking, you're right. Of course, the most recent comparables or the closest comparables to the reference dates are the best. And it's a bit of a balancing act between choosing which properties best represent which comparables best represent the property and which ones are closest to the sale date. And we try and find that balance.
Okay, perfect. And is there like a percentage adjustment you use from like say 2016 to 2017 and then 2017 to 2018?
It's only tracked from one assessment date to the next assessment date. So say the assessment change was 4%, you would just divide it by 24 months and then times that by whatever the percentage is and apply it as the increase.
I see. Okay. That helps me. So would you think though that taking a more recent sale and projecting backwards would be as effective of a method if you use that same time adjustment?
Not for us, unfortunately. Our assessment data isn't finalized until we have our new assessment roll. Essentially, we're not updating it every day, every week, every month as new sales come in. We need to pick a concrete date and then go based on the changes between those dates. That's why all of my comparables today have always been before the reference date. It's always the practice to choose older sales and adjust them forwards and not the other way around.
I see. But you would agree that sales data for 2020 and 2021 are probably higher than 2018?
I would.
Okay. I feel like a jerk asking this question, but I notice other people ask it. So have you inspected the property?
We haven't been allowed to do inspections for most of the last couple of years because of COVID. So the answer is largely no, I haven't inspected it.
Okay, I saw that one coming, but everybody else asked it, so I thought I should as well. I think that's all of my questions for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Sanders, question.
No, I don't have any questions.
I don't either, Madam.
Okay. Mr. Kupfer, I just have one quick question, just on the square footage, or dollar per square footage. The subject property has got the highest, and I'm assuming that is because of the assessed lot size, correct?
Yeah, higher than comparables 2 through 4 at least. Yes.
Okay. Even though 503 is also on an external corner and the same size essentially.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. Ms. Queen, if you would like to give us your presentation on your property.
Okay, I don't have, well, hopefully I won't keep you long, but our property, when we purchased it, had been tenanted for several years. It was in a significant state of disrepair. I would say the former owner was more of a slumlord. I think they were charging like $700 a month for the property, which in that area is quite low. But it was because it was in a significant state of disrepair. So, and something that we have discovered since purchasing it is that the plumbing stack, as well as the return sewer line to the city in our property, I'm not sure if it's true for others in the area, but for ours, it's shared with the adjacent property. So to actually access that plumbing stack or to do your sewer line cleanouts or anything like that, you actually have to open up the party wall and reach inside between the two properties and make any corrections or adjustments. So our neighbor had actually updated their side, but that had actually caused strain on our side because we had full plumbing and now it was kind of interfering. So I do think that this is something we're going to have to disclose when we do sell the property in the future. And I do think it would have a negative impact on resale value. Now, and that also too, when you look at the permits, that necessitated, or that made the upgrades we did necessary because there was a leak coming from the upstairs bathroom all the way down into the kitchen. So we had to address that, which meant opening permits. It also had a 60 amp panel when we purchased it, which for insurance purposes, we are buying this as a rental property. It just didn't, we needed to upgrade it to get proper insurance in place for our tenants. And same goes for the electrical in the kitchen as well. We discovered that there was some wiring and I guess jimmy rigging, you could say, that needed to be addressed. So we addressed that as well. Again, as being a fairly neglected property for the last several years, it had developed very negative grade throughout the property. Some of it we have already addressed, but we have quotes right now for about $8,000 more worth of landscaping that needs to be done there just to improve the overall grade of the property. We just kind of did a quick grade away from the foundation just to prevent any future seepage into the basement, which leads me to my next point. There is seepage occurring in the basement. In the pictures, you would have seen some wood paneling, I'm guessing from the 60s or 70s, down in that basement. Sorry, not the evidence I submitted. I'm referencing the MLS listing the assessor looked up. So that a lot of that wall actually had to come out anyways. So it's much more unfinished now than what it would have even been before. There were also windows missing. The windows themselves in the property are old, but in the basement there was one window missing. It was just a larger window. I'm not sure if you can see in the pictures, but there were tile stairs going to the second story. And they were asbestos tiles too, so there was some remediation work that would need to be done there. And then of course, my concern about this property are lot limitations. So because of the way that it's so narrow at the back, you can never add a garage to this property. There's just no way to properly do it and have a usable garage with an appropriate approach. So what I would say is that as it currently stands, that would be a pretty negative adjustment in terms of value, because that's something somebody purchasing this property in the future would know they can never do, and they're going to make a negative assessment as a result. Also, the commercial construction that has occurred behind the property, it's a substantial building that has been constructed with many windows now looking down into the backyard of the subject property. So I do think that there should be some negative adjustments for that as well. And that was really my key points. We paid $195 for it in 2020. It was on the MLS. It was a bidding war. I think we were one of 3 offers, and we paid $195. And then when I do my numbers and I adjust backwards, I would actually recommend a price making that kind of 4% adjustment of somewhere more in the 185 to 190 range personally. And that's all I have.
Thank you very much. Mr. Kepler, question?
This was an estate sale, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you get a chance to see the home before you made an offer?
Yes.
Okay. So more or less you knew what you're getting yourself into when you bought it?
We knew it was a project, yes.
And the construction had already started, obviously, on the apartment building behind?
Yes.
Okay. What's the total cost? What have you put into it since taking possession, approximately?
Dollar-wise? I would say between, the electrical work was probably, I'm guessing around $2,000 to $3,000. And I would say that the kitchen work was probably more like $10,000.
Okay.
And then the bathroom upstairs too that was leaking would probably be an additional $5,000.
Okay. No other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
Just one question in regards to the remedial work that you did outside, the landscaping to prevent the seepage into the basement. How much was that valued at?
I don't think that was very significant. It was just an initial bit of pea gravel that was put around the foundation, and it's probably spreads only about 2 feet out. Honestly, I would say maybe $500 or $600 worth of pea gravel.
Okay, but you do have a quotation for additional work to the property?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we did get a quote. I didn't submit it though. Sorry.
What is the quote? Can you
I'll find it. I can find it. For Berwick. 5,000. Oh, sorry, no. With taxes, it's $6,289.92.
Okay. And so currently the property is vacant. You're continuing to fix it up, and then you're going to rent it out, or is it rented out now?
No, we do now have tenants in it.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Those are all my questions.
Thank you. Ms. Queen, a little bit of a bidding war in regards to purchasing this property?
Yes.
And it was an estate sale, and a standard financing on the purchase?
Yes.
25% down?
Yes.
Okay. What do you plan to rent it for?
I think we have a tenant in there now at $1,500 a month.
$1,500? Okay. They pay utilities?
Yes.
I thank you.
So Ms. Queen, you have a tenant in there?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I thought you just stated to the previous panel member that it was vacant. No, did I misunderstand, I guess?
So she
Sorry.
indicated she
No,
had.
we just put a tenant.
Oh, okay, so it's
Yeah.
1,500 a month, okay. Thank you. I'm just gonna redirect Mr. Kupfer. On 503 Berwick Place, on your comparables, comparable number 1, do you have an MLS listing on that?
I do, yes, that was a public sale.
Okay. Can you just read out the description, please?
Sure. This meticulously maintained modern 3-bedroom home is in the perfect condition for the first-time home buyer. Home features newer windows, spacious kitchen, pleasant back porch area, air conditioning, double parking pad, and a fully finished basement with a rec room area for entertaining. Home includes all appliances, walking distance to community center, parks, and the infamous BDI.
I thank you.
It was very nicely upgraded too. It had like new flooring, new window, new paint, new everything. So.
Okay. Well, I have no further questions, and thank you very much for waiting so long and appearing this morning.
No problem. Thanks for hearing me, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, our final applicant is here in Zoom. Good morning, Mr. Bosk. For the record, can you please state your name?
Denny Bosk.
Thank you. And do you affirm the evidence you will present today is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
Last but not least, Mr. Bosk. Thank you for your patience. We're just going to begin with the assessor. Mr. Kupfer, if you can start us on 230 Thurso Street, please.
Roll number 1203 1093000 230 Thurso Street. It's in the Rockwood neighborhood area. It's a 2-story, 2-unit dwelling with a secondary unit in the finished basement. It was newly constructed in 2019, 1,930 square feet of living area. Of course, that's not including the basement. Of course, it's fully finished, 4 bathrooms, central air conditioning, an attached double garage, a lot size of 5,461 square feet with the community rec center park area just next door. Comparables 1 through 4, you'll see some variation here between Lord Roberts, Riverview, Rockwood, and McMillan. They're all 2 stories. Comparables 1 and 2 are similarly built, where they have the secondary unit in the basement, and then the main floor and upper is a separate suite, similar to what I believe the subject is. Whereas comparables 3 and 4 are older 2-story duplexes, more traditional, where they're basically cut down the middle and then mirrored on either side. Living areas for the 4 comparables range from a low 1,574 square feet to a high of 2,040 square feet. All have full basements with basement finish, between 2 and 4 bathrooms. Only comparables 1 and 3 had central air conditioning at the time of sale, and only comparables 3 and 4 have garages. Comparables 1 and 2 do not. Lot sizes range quite a bit. As you can see, comparables 1 and 2, I believe they are also infills. These are smaller lots. Generally, somebody buys the house, knocks it down, splits the lot in half, and then puts up 2 new dwellings. Pretty sure that's what happened here. So lot sizes range from the low of 2,206 square feet all the way up to 6,000 square feet, 6,057 square feet, comparable number 3. Time adjusted sale prices for the four comparables range from a low $427,400 for this older sale at column 2, up to $507,300 for comparable number 3, or a time adjusted sale price per square foot ranging from a low $227.30 for our older comparable at number 4, up to $305.72 for the smaller one on comparable number 1. Property was purchased most recently in March 2021 by the current owner, public MLS sale. Second page of my brief here shows the orientation. So you can see the subject property is just off from the community center there. The other comparables don't quite have that same influence, but they do have some other benefits. You could say, obviously, being on Corydon, McMillan area, those are certainly nice areas as well. The 2022 assessment for the subject property is currently set at $540,000 or $279.79 per square foot. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bosk, did you have any questions of what the assessor has just presented?
Sure. Yeah, I got just a couple of questions for Mr. Kupfer. So have you visually inspected the property to determine the physical condition of the structure?
I have not physically inspected the subject property or the comparables, no.
Okay. Can you please explain the calculation to determine the time adjusted sales price in the comparables table? So how do you basically how do you bring forward the value of the comparables forward in time?
We track the percentage change from our 2016 to our 2018 assessment in this example. It'll be broken down based on market region, and then that time adjustment is done on a monthly basis. So if the total change from 2016 to 2018 is 5%, you divide 5% by 24 months and then times it by however many months up until the April 1st, 2018 reference date.
Okay. So based on that calculation, would it be appropriate to actually bring the values of houses back in time by that same method and same calculation as well?
We don't work backwards in time because we don't have what our official assessments are going to be for the next assessment cycle yet. That's why we always choose older properties and then work forwards from there. I do understand your argument, though. Of course, property values have largely increased from 2018 to 2021. But yeah, this is our practice, is to work from backwards to forwards.
Yeah, no problem. Is the landscaping done and complete at all the comparable properties that you've presented here?
With the exception of 184 Morley, I believe they did all have at least some good landscaping. Comparable number 2 here is the low one. It was very bare bones when it was sold. So like I said, it was an infill. So it was basically a dirt pit in front around the house. I guess contributing to the low sale price on that one.
Yeah. And then is it true that typically the larger the total square footage, the lower the assessment per square foot comes out to?
All things being equal, yes, because the value of the land is influencing that, yeah.
Sure. Awesome. Okay, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions at this time.
I just have one, and this is an infill house?
Yes.
Yes.
So it was built in 2019?
That's right.
Okay, thank you.
So Mr. Kupfer, I think I already know your answer, but because this was a 2019 build, under normal circumstances, this would have been inspected. I'm assuming this didn't, or was it?
I would have to say no for this one. I don't think we had an in-person inspection as well. Give me 1 second, I'll just pull up the note, whoever added it. It was on MLS, so typically between that and the building plans that get submitted, we'll usually just give the homeowner a phone call if we feel like it's necessary. Well, it says a site inspection was completed actually by the assessor, and they spoke with the former owner, not the current owner, to confirm the characteristics of the home.
Okay. Was an inside inspection done at that time?
She says site inspection completed. I'm sorry, it's not exactly clear.
Okay, thank you. That's all my questions. Mr. Bosk, if you'd like to proceed with your presentation.
Sure. So basically, I'd like to, go ahead by saying that I think that the best way to determine the assessment of the value of this home is by fair market value. So what people paid for in a free and open market. So if I read the definition of fair market value, it's the price that an asset would sell for on the open market under the following usual set of conditions. Prospective buyers and sellers are reasonably knowledgeable about the asset, behaving in their own best interest, free of undue pressure to trade, and given a reasonable time period for completing the transaction. Given these conditions, an asset's fair market value should represent an accurate valuation or assessment of its worth. The term is commonly used in tax law and the real estate market. So for this particular instance, the house had hit the market on April 6th, 2020, and the transaction closed for my purchase on March 16th of 2021. That means that it had been on the market for nearly 1 year. So that gives ample amount of time for prospective buyers and market participants to really assess and determine the worth of the house in a free and open marketplace. So the assessment of my property came in on March 9th of 2021, and my transaction closed on March 16th of 2021. So today's sale price being higher than the 2018 assessment value in today's market, I don't think is appropriate or accurate. Today's real estate market is, we'll say it's on fire, like people like to say. So we're seeing rising prices being fueled by the low interest rate environment and just a shorter supply of homes available in general. These are factors that would increase house values and transaction prices as well. So furthermore, the house has defects that would not be reflected in a comparables table like that has been presented here today. And these defects could not be determined without actually inspecting the property. And I will say that the majority of the defects are actually located inside the house. So I'm just going to list a few things. Like the floor is uneven and spongy. The finishing work was just not done very well. The stonework on the outside of the home is uneven, and stones are actually falling off and being unstuck from the mortar that was used to place them on the home. The frontage of the property is dirt. There's large stumps that need to be removed. This area, so River Heights, Crescentwood areas, has large elm trees, and there was 4 of them that were taken down to do the construction. So the stumps are still in the ground that need to be removed. And yeah, the landscaping is not complete. The fascia is falling out of the seams all the way around the house. The eaves troughs were not sloped correctly, which doesn't allow for proper drainage. And so water is accumulating and it's not draining away to the downspouts. And yeah, I've already mentioned the finishing work, but to say that it would be bad would be an understatement. The baseboards and window trims were all outdated and looked like they were recycled materials. The kitchen cabinets in the basement suite were old and looked like they were recycled as well. It's mostly vinyl flooring. There's some hardwood flooring upstairs, but there's spacing between the planks, and it looks like it could also be recycled as well. The drywall and the paint has major imperfections due to the poor quality of the finishing work. And so taking all that into account, I think people saw this during that whole year that the house was on the market. People did see these imperfections. And I think that was baked into the price that was paid by the highest bidder, which was myself. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is essentially that. And I think the most fair representation of what the house or the property is truly worth is what someone would have paid in the market, which was $490,000 by myself. And then if we adjust the value backwards by 4% a year, whatever the stat was that Mr. Kupfer had used, we probably get more in a range of $450,000 to $460,000. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kupfer, did you have any questions of the applicant?
It shows in the evidence here that the home came with a 5-year new purchaser warranty. Is that right?
That's correct.
Were any of these deficiencies covered by the warranty?
I'm currently in the process of working with the insurance provider on making repairs to these deficiencies. As you know, insurance providers are a little bit bureaucratic in their and slow moving. So yeah, I'm currently trying to work with them at repairing a few of the deficiencies that were found on the home.
Okay. Did you do an inspection of the home prior to purchasing it?
I did.
You did, okay. That's all my questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Anderson?
I have no questions, thank you.
No, thank you.
Are you currently living in the home, Mr. Bosk?
I am, yes.
Okay, and you've rented out the other portion?
Yes, I have.
And what is the rent you're like getting on this?
How much am I collecting in terms
Yeah.
of revenue? Yeah, so I charge $1,300 for access and living quarters in the basement suite per month.
Okay. So technically you're saying there's no landscaping out front?
Yeah, it's just dirt with tree stumps.
Thank you. I have no further questions. And again, thank you for your long wait and your appearance this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have heard all the items scheduled this morning, and this hearing is now adjourned. Mr. Kupfer, I thank you.